I need to tell you something I am not proud of. Last year I raised my voice at my dog. Not once, multiple times. In the same week, I was stressed. Work was difficult. Everything felt like too much. And my dog did something small, something completely normal, something they had done 100 times before. And I snapped. And the moment I did, the moment my voice rose, something happened to my dog. Something I had never paid attention to before. Their ears went back. Their body dropped low. Their eyes went wide. And they looked at me, not with understanding, not with guilt, but with something I can only describe as fear. My dog was afraid of me. For that moment, they were genuinely afraid. And I stood there, and I felt something I have never fully shaken. Because in that moment I understood something that changed how I would interact with my dog forever. My voice is not just sound to my dog. My voice is an event, a full biological event that their body responds to in ways most owners have never been told about. And today, we go into exactly what that event looks like from the inside. Welcome to Dog IQ. Subscribe right now if you are new, because every week we give you the science that makes you a better owner, even for the hard things, especially for the hard things. Before we go into the science, I want you to think about something honestly. Have you ever raised your voice at your dog? Not in genuine anger necessarily. Maybe just in frustration. Maybe in a moment of stress that had nothing to do with them. Maybe because they did something that scared you, and the fear came out as volume. Most owners have, and most owners feel a specific way after. Not just guilt, something more specific. The feeling of having used your size against someone smaller. Someone who trusts you completely. Someone who had no idea it was coming. That feeling is worth listening to because it is telling you something true. Something the science confirms. Your voice, raised in anger or frustration, is a significant experience for your dog. And understanding what it actually does is the first step to making a different choice. Let us start with what your dog hears. Not what you meant to communicate, what they actually receive. Dogs hear differently from humans. Their hearing range is broader. Their ability to detect subtle changes in tone is more sophisticated. And most importantly, they process vocal information differently from how we do. When you speak to your dog, their brain processes two separate things simultaneously. First, the semantic content, the words. Second, the acoustic properties, the pitch, the volume, the rhythm, the emotional content carried in how you say it. And here is the crucial finding from research at Yavuz University in Budapest. The emotional acoustic content of your voice is processed in your dog's right brain hemisphere, the same hemisphere that processes emotional information in humans. This is significant because it means your dog is not just hearing your words. They are feeling your emotional state as directly as a feeling can be communicated. When you raise your voice, your dog does not hear, "I am frustrated with your behavior right now." They feel, "Something is wrong. Something is threatening. Something in my environment has shifted into a state that my nervous system classifies as potentially dangerous." Now let us talk about what happens in your dog's body, because this is the part most owners have never heard. The moment your voice rises, your dog's nervous system activates. The amygdala, the brain's threat detection center, fires. Cortisol floods the bloodstream. Adrenaline releases. Heart rate elevates. Muscles tense. Pupils dilate. Breathing changes. The entire fight or flight response activates in response to your voice, in response to the person they love most. Think about that for a moment. The same biological emergency response that activates when a dog is attacked activates when you raise your voice. Not to the same degree necessarily, but using the same system, the same pathways, the same chemistry. And here is what that means in practice. While your dog is experiencing this response, they are not learning. They are not understanding. They are not receiving the message you intended to send. They are surviving. Their brain is in survival mode, and a brain in survival mode cannot process information, cannot connect behavior to consequence, cannot understand why this is happening, can only wait for the threat to pass. Now here is the part of this science that I think about most. Research published in the journal Scientific Reports confirmed something that many dog owners suspected but had never been proven before. Dogs experience negative emotional states in response to negative human vocal signals in a way that is measurable, observable, and lingering, not just in the moment of the raised voice. After it, the study showed that dogs exposed to negative vocal tones, including shouting and harsh speech, showed elevated cortisol levels, not just during the negative interaction, but for significant time periods afterward. The stress did not end when the voice lowered. The stress continued because the nervous system, once activated to that level, does not simply switch off. It takes time to regulate, and during during that regulation period, your dog is still carrying the experience, still in the aftermath of the event, still recovering, while you have already moved on. Now let us talk about something even more important, the cumulative effect, because a single raised voice, a single moment of frustration, in an otherwise warm and consistent relationship, does limited damage. Dogs are resilient. Relationships recover. A dog who is fundamentally secure with their owner can absorb a difficult moment without lasting harm. But here is what the research shows about repeated exposure. Dogs who are regularly exposed to raised voices, to harsh vocal tones, to unpredictable vocal escalations, show measurable changes over time. Their baseline cortisol level rises. Their threshold for threat activation lowers. They become more easily startled, more anxious, more reactive, more difficult to train, because a nervous system operating in chronic low-level stress has less capacity for learning, less capacity for play, less capacity for the kind of open, relaxed engagement that a healthy relationship between a dog and their owner looks like. And here is what is most heartbreaking about this. The dogs most affected are not the ones who show the most obvious fear, the ones who yelp, the ones who cower dramatically, the ones who make it obvious. The dogs most affected are the quiet ones, the ones who shut down, the ones who learn through repetition that showing their fear does not change anything, and so they stop showing it, and they carry it silently in the elevated cortisol, in the lowered threshold, in the way they flinch slightly at a raised arm or a sudden movement or a volume that reminds their nervous system of something it has learned to be ready for. Now here is what I want to be clear about. This is not a judgment. It is not an accusation. Every owner has raised their voice. Every owner has had moments they wish they could take back, including me. The goal of this video is not to make you feel ashamed. The goal is to make the invisible visible, to show you what your dog experiences in a moment you might have always treated as minor, because once you see it, once you truly understand what is happening in their body, the moment feels different, and different moments produce different choices. So what do you actually do with this? 5 things, and I want to be honest, these are not easy. They require real self-awareness, real practice, real commitment, but they work. Thing 1, interrupt the escalation before it happens. The moment you feel your frustration rising, the moment you notice your voice wants to escalate, stop. Not forever, just for 5 seconds. 5 seconds of silence, because in those 5 seconds, your prefrontal cortex, the reasoning part of your brain, has a chance to come back online. And in that 5-second window, you can make a different choice. Not because you are perfect, because you are present. Thing 2, understand what your dog's behavior is communicating. Most raised voices happen because a dog does something that frustrates its owner. And most frustrating dog behaviors have a reason. A dog who is destructive is often understimulated. A dog who is not responding to commands is often over-threshold. A dog who keeps doing the same thing, despite correction, has not actually learned what you want them to do instead. The behavior is not defiance. The behavior is communication. And if you can hear the communication, you might not need the volume. Thing 3, create a calming reset for yourself, not for your dog, for you. When you feel the escalation coming, breathe, lower your shoulders, soften your jaw. These are not just calming techniques. These are physiological signals that tell your nervous system the threat is not real. The stakes are not that high. I can choose a different response. And your dog will feel this reset because they read your body at all times. And a body that is softening tells them the weather is changing. It is safe again. Thing 4, after a difficult moment, repair it, not by apologizing in a human way. Your dog does not understand the concept of apology, but by reconnecting, physically, warmly, calmly, get down to their level. Let them sniff you. Let their nervous system confirm the event is over. The threat has passed. The person who matters most is back. And stay there until you feel their body soften, until the tension releases, until they press into you, rather than holding themselves slightly apart. That softening, that press, is your dog's version of accepting the repair, and it matters more than you know. Thing 5, build the reserve. Every warm interaction, every patient moment, every time you chose calm when frustration was available, goes into a reserve, a buffer, a deep account of positive experience that your dog draws on in the moments when the relationship is tested. The more full that account is, the more resilient your dog is to the imperfect moments that are part of every real relationship. You will not be perfect. No owner is, but a dog whose account is full can absorb imperfection and find their way back to security because they have enough history, enough evidence that you are safe, even on the hard days. I want to come back to the moment I told you about at the beginning, the moment I raised my voice. voice and saw what happened to my dog. What I did after that was sit on the floor, right there, and I just waited. My dog did not come to me immediately. They stood slightly apart, watching, assessing, and slowly, over about 2 minutes, they came and pressed their nose into my hand, and I kept my hand completely still and let them lead. And when they pressed their whole body against me, I put my arm around them and stayed there for a long time, not because it undid what happened. It did not, but because it said, I am still here. I am the safe version right now, and you do not have to stay apart from me anymore. That is all repair is, and it is enough, more than enough, if you do it every time. Before this video ends, 3 things. First, next time you feel your voice rising, take 5 seconds, just 5, and in those 5 seconds, remember what you learned today. Remember what is happening in their body, and make a different choice. Second, drop a comment below. Have you ever raised your voice at your dog and immediately regretted it? Tell us what happened, because every honest answer in these comments is a dog owner who cares enough to look at the hard things, and that caring is everything. Third, share this video with every dog owner you know, not to shame anyone, but because this information changes moments, and changed moments change relationships, and relationships between humans and dogs deserve to be the best they can possibly be. If this video changed how you will respond next time, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to Dog IQ. Every week, we give you the science that makes the hard things easier to understand and easier to change. Hit the bell, all notifications on. See you in the next one. Your dog is right there. Go be the calm version. They are always waiting for that person.